My name is Walied Albasheer. I'm the founder of Inbound. And Inbound, I've been working with Gurtam right now for almost 10 years right now. So next year it will be our 10-year anniversary. And we have learned a lot from this fabulous company. Okay. I think due to the pandemic and all this stuff, the client became very cautious about the cost. So whenever we are trying to sell them something, we need to put more effort into convincing them that whatever they're getting is getting them a value. And this becoming challenging with a lot of clients, cutting costs, cutting human resources and all this stuff. When we look at the expenditure or expense map of every fleet, we'll find it look like that. We've got drivers, which is about 43%. We've got fuel, about 22%. In average, we've got maintenance, about 10%, insurance, 4%, broad tool and chairs and permits and all this other stuff. My other presenters, they talk about, let's see, for example, tires. They have talked about the importance of adding fuel and all this stuff. But again, I'm going to show you a use case that we have been working with one of the clients. And this use case might be able to help us quantify the return of investment that they could get from some of the elements. One element could do. Some of the clients, it could not be done with one element. We need another element and stuff like that. So I'm going to discuss about, for example, the idling cost for a specific model. Okay. So based on UAE here, idling for 15 minutes costs you about 1 liter. That's about 2 dirhams in average between diesel and fuel. So if you're talking about 600 vehicles for 15 minutes, so we're talking about 1,200 dirham a day, and then this goes for 22 days of working, goes up to 26,000 dirhams. And when we're talking about 600 vehicles for 12 months, that's about 316,000 dirhams. Normally, when we talk to clients about this, they deny. They do not estimate that this cost could be this much. But again, we take them step by step and trying to figure out, okay, by a specific pool of vehicles. Okay, let's give us 10 vehicles, we will prove it. Or let's give us 20 vehicles in a month, so we will prove it. Then they will start getting out of their denial status, and then start communicating more with the client. So when we're looking at this particular case study, for example, we've taken the idling, we've taken the maintenance, which is also related to the idling somehow. Unfortunately, most of the fleet providers here, they calculate their cost per kilometer. They do not address the cost per engine hour. Meanwhile, if you are changing oil, engine hour is more valid than the kilometer, because if the vehicle did 100 kilometers per day, this could be in 2 hours if he's going in 60 or 50 kilometers per hour, or it could be in 7 hours, while he's not going many kilometers, but the engine is on, and eventually it's consuming engine parts, and it's consuming oil and all this other stuff. So looking at those 3 items, elements, particularly idling, maintenance, and depreciation, could help us quantify this sort of cost that we are trying to offer to the client. So, for example, this particular case, we took 112 vehicles, and then we look at the monthly idling cost, we find it's at 2,000 dirhams. But when we look at deploying this for the whole fleet, okay, we told them, when we first told them it's going to cost you 171,000 dirhams, they did not believe it. But when we did it for the 112, they come to know, because it's data and we can drill down up to any level and show them. So After identifying this, for example, 46,000 idling hours, 53,000 in motion, and 93,000 engine hours in total, we find that their idling is almost 45% of their movement. So when we look at this and project it on the whole fleet of the 600 vehicles, we figured out that, okay, by reducing the idling for 17%, we're not going to have the 100% all right away. Let's see, in 3 months or in 6 months, we managed to reduce the idle by 17%. That brings the fuel bill from 2 million dirhams to 1.7 million dirhams. That's a saving of 392,000 dirhams from fuel only. So you might be selling, you might be leasing the service for them by 50 dirham or 100 dirham, but of course this will help subsidize, if not all the costs that they are paying you, it will help subsidize majority of this cost. Keeping in mind, the system will be helpful in so many other different areas. When we look at the maintenance cost also, by reducing the maintenance cost for the next 17%, then we're going to go along with 262,000 dirhams. That's in maintenance. Basically, all Kenyan filter can do the math for you. Depreciation also. Now, depreciation, normally they do the depreciation in 5 years, in 3 years, and all this stuff, but this is not the situation always. Because if you have 600 vehicles that's delivered from the agencies today, and you keep them still, they're going to be perfect. Even if you come after 2 years and drive them, then they're going to be the same. But once you give them to drivers, then you see a lot of variances. There are some of them, they're no more usable within 1 year, 2 years. Some of them, they go total loss. We get surprised by the total loss incident just a couple of months after the purchase of the vehicle. So here, through the driver behavior, through many other elements, we could also project that 17% saving only on the cost of ignorance. They've got this particular cost of ignorance, which is having idling, engine hours, maintenance, and bad driver behavior. Claiming back 17,000 out of this would improve their vehicle depreciation. If you sum up these 3 of them, you find it's like 1 million dirham. So 1 million dirham, 600 vehicles, you can sell the service for how long? Now today, client is very conscious about this stuff. Another factor is that many of the fleet operators right now, they are looking for carpooling, corporate carpooling. Because if you look at any establishment, look at it to Salah, look at any establishment, you come in the morning, you find vehicles are mobilized, they're getting into their headquarters or whatever, but those vehicles, they will remain still for like 6, 7, 8 hours. Then again, they start getting mobilized at the end of the day. So, getting the offline bullying or through just proper route planning and optimization, if we are talking about, for example, about logistics, we do a lot of logistics like post offices, e-commerce, and all this stuff. Then the utilization of the fleet based on the plan you do. So if you do proper planning, then you can enhance this particular stuff. So we look at this slide, we find their engine hours 13% of the whole fleet time. So only you are utilizing your cars for 13%. That's about 5 hours a day. Not 5 hours, about 3 hours a day. Okay? So if we enhance this up to 30%, then we get to change a lot of math over here. This is another element that can help us when we are trying to approach clients at this difficult time, to help us at least subsidize whatever they are getting, and they have a clear return of investment in this. It could always be a hypothesis till they will have a POC. So they will say, no, I cannot have all this system and all, but when you have a POC, show them the number in their own fleet, then things get better. Another factor is the speed violations. Everybody lives in Dubai here, been driving in Dubai here. You know, we have a very, very rugged and wild speed violations. So it could range up to 800, 1,200, confiscating the car for 1 month, even criminal, cases. So here we look at, for example, at this client, based on the internal Walied system, we figured out that it's 6,000 speed violations. If we try to quantify this 6,000 speed violation, if every time he violated the speed, he got a ticket, then that will be a 15 million dirham for this particular client, and that's only for 6 months. So that could be his exposure to speed fines is like 30 million a year. Yeah. So this is another factor that led them, think of a regulatory framework that will show you the tickets that's been fined from the regulator against the real thing that's happening on the road, through dynamic speed and stuff like that. Another part is the safety blanket that you are getting through those cars. Normally, they are having your brand. You have a reputation out there and all this stuff. So when we look at the speed violation against the speed limit, we see there are particular cases where they go at 175 kilometers where the speed is 80. Some of them they go at 186 where the speed is 80. This could be for a very short time. But again, it affects your brand value, it affects your exposure to criminal charges, to corporate penalties and other stuff if things goes wrong. And we've got a lot of cases with clients where things really goes very, very badly and stuff like that. So just to conclude those charts over here. So if I am offering my service for 50 dirham, which is a blue bar over there. Then looking at those vehicles in amounts, we can see the cost of idle is 466, 463, 443, 318, 333. So with only one element, you can justify the total service that you're offering. We just took the 50 dirham as a standard, like it's about 15 euros or so. But out of the general market. But again, it could be more, it could be less, and all this stuff. But here, when the client realizes, based on the POC done on his fleet, then he will figure out that this is something worse. Because when you start approaching him, sometimes they don't know the total cost of ownership, they don't know the return of investment, and they don't know how to quantify. They need to sell up. If you're talking to fleet operator or fleet operation department, or you're talking to the IT or system department, they might understand this. But when it goes up on the approval, selling up to the top, people are looking at the bottom line. So any IT executive, when he comes and he goes to the finance or he goes to the budgeting or to the board, and tell them we need to invest this much on this, the next question will be how much we get. So this will quantify this clearly. What we try to do for our clients, we started with fuel, and we put a container that will allow them to upload any of those stuff. Fuel consumption, we integrated it with files from ENO, from ADNOC, from all the providers, selling charges, maintenance, and other elements, stuff like that. It's completely configurable, and it can have all the elements customized. Let's see, I do have 3-4 Excel files for my fleet expenses. So based on that, I get it in here and I get the exact cost per kilometer, the exact cost per engine hour, or the exact cost per delivery. If I'm talking about clients like Amazon or like Noon or whatever, they charge a specific amount per delivery, so you need to figure out. This is basically the stuff, and this is going to be offered soon in the marketplace. If you'd like to make use of this, you could speak to us, and thank you very much for your attention.
question. Do you have a French version? Language, French.
Yeah, we have it in English right now, but it's the whole code is properly refactored. We are introducing the languages sooner. It's not available right now, but it's being thought of. We will have the languages file soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, Walied. Excellent slides. We were discussing over the lunch about the data that we need to back up. I think this is excellent slides, really helpful. We'll be able to get a copy of that. This is really interesting. Guys, I have my own version of something around working around this, but based purely on fact and assumptions rather than being real life. But that is something that you achieved in real life, and I think that's going to be really helpful to share. Thank you once again.
Thank you.